Well, good news. Finally, the administration has found a way to create new jobs. Grassroots campaigns. They are, look at that, summer jobs for students. It's getting better already. To fight far-right extremism and advance progressive causes. It's good. They're partnering with the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, and Amnesty International. Good thing there's no extremism there. Unlike, teaming up with with just a good old, hey, let's go out and clean our city. No, this is something different. This is just teaming up with, a group that doesn't mind helping a pimp impregnating a 13-year-old with taxpayer dollars. That's all you're doing. I'm just helping out Planned Parenthood. That's it. Here's some of grassroots campaigns, which I think are great. Grassroots campaigns. They have their former clients or past or current clients or DNC, George Soros and MoveOn.org. I love them. League of Conservation Voters. That's got to be good. Oh, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. The ACLU, which is great. Common Cause, which is fantastic. Working America. That's the AFL-CIO. Amnesty International. Center for American Progress, George Soros again, and the Tides Foundation. And here's my favorites. Planned Parenthood and Save the Children. Let that marinate for a few minutes. Just Planned Parenthood and Save the Children. Planned Parenthood, who helped end the lives of millions of children through abortion, and Save the Children. All right, while you're thinking about that one, let's take a look here at Lila Rose. Here she is exposing Planned Parenthood. And when she did this, U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, who says he's not pursuing the voter intimidation case down in Philadelphia, or the Defense of Marriage Act, which is the law of the land, also says the DOJ is not going to pursue this one either. No, he's not going to. I told you last night we need to make a choice. And I believe the choice has been made by our DOJ. It has. Remember I told you this last night? The American dream. Do you believe the American experiment that man can rule himself? I told you last night, there would be some that would say, nope, man cannot rule himself. If so, the American dream, what is it? Well, it can't be equal justice because that means you have to stand on your own 2 feet. Social justice. I see that the DOJ has said no to the American experiment, and we're not doing equal justice now because that would mean if there's a wrong, you right it. You stand for the law. You don't make the decision yourself because that leads to social justice. But then again, in his own words, maybe we have become a nation of cowards. Good news, America. I have another story that will hack you off, but I have an action step for you at the end. Your grade school-age children could be learning that the promise of America is socialism. That is exactly what is being taught in many American public schools under the guise of teaching children how to read. The seeds of socialism are being planted within the minds of young children. And it's being done in a chanting, musical sort of way. Do you believe that the preamble of the Constitution of the United States mandates the following? That the people's basic needs must be met in a country? No. Needs for housing, education, transportation, health care, overseen by our government system? No. No. Well, here's the way it is now being laid out all across the country for your impressionable grade schoolers in a new textbook, Building Fluency Through Practice and Performance. Well, that doesn't sound bad. That's fantastic. It's American history. What could be wrong? They're just building reading fluency, right? Yeah. Except for this part on page 40, the preamble of the Constitution of the United States. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, comma, people's basic needs must be met in a country. But must they? No opportunity. How about needs for housing, education, transportation, and health care are overseen by our government system? I'm sorry, is this the Soviet Union Constitution? Because that one did guarantee all of those things. And then R6 here, labor laws ensure that people work in safe environments and that they are paid fairly for the work they do. I'm sorry, are we in Mao's China? This is propaganda here. Now here's your action step. Can you homeschool your kids? Because really, it's on fire. And it would help the economy. It would help, maybe we could pay those teachers all of their pensions because they won't have to worry about your kid. Just trying to help. Most people can't homeschool their kids. And most people are involved with their children and what they're learning. But now you have to be uber involved. Otherwise, we're raising an entire generation of committed socialists. I want you to call your school or your school district and you find out if building fluency through practice and performance, because these things are chanted in almost song-like form in the class, find out if this is being used in your child's school or in your district, and then make sure it doesn't see the light of day. Get it out of our kids' schools. I opened the show tonight by telling you about the perfect storm, and I told you I was going to add something to this board, but I think I'm going to wait an extra night because we're running out of time. The perfect storm is an idea that I had, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. And it's the idea that we can weather any of these things. I mean, it's like the movie The Perfect Storm. You know, that boat could have made it in any regular storm, but when things start to really come together, you're not going to make it. The border, the debt, trust for one another, trust in our government, trust in our financial markets, trust, energy, war, terror, political correctness, Islamic extremism, financial markets, the enemy within. The enemy within is the only one that I never thought I would see happen. The radicals, the Marxists, the unions, the extremists here in America that are colluding. Don't miss tomorrow's program. They see an opportunity, and you're seeing it more and more, and the media won't cover it. They won't cover Islamic extremism. Our DOJ says there is no such thing as Islamic extremism. Enemies within, nobody is covering. The financial with the Islamic extremism or the enemies abroad, which we showed you at the beginning of the program, they certainly haven't covered. And a lot of times they'll say it's because it's ridiculous. And they'll say it's ridiculous because maybe they find people like, oh, that's ridiculous. Okay, that's only some 25-year-old communist punk, whatever. Or let's use Louis Farrakhan. I personally find Louis Farrakhan ridiculous. But he is not without influence. As we showed you last night, he said the Mahdi is among us now, and that unrest is coming to America quoting, very, very soon. Now, that's easy to laugh off from a guy like Louis Farrakhan, but I wouldn't. Remember, this is the same guy who got 1 million people on the mall. He's not without great and profound influence. And he didn't say these, just in front of a few people. He said those latest comments in front of 18,000 cheering American fans. Very few individual Tea Parties drew 18,000 people. And yet, the media was there with a magnifying glass and a pipe. Watson, the game's afoot, looking for any shred of evidence that suggested violence or racism. They were all over a non-story, but they are silent about Farrakhan. They're silent on the radical cleric who's wants to rally people in D.C. tomorrow. Thank God for Bill O'Reilly. This guy's in favor of Sharia law here in America. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad telling Muslims to rise up against the West. He's also saying, believe it or not, that the new Olympic logo for London is racist because it looks like the word Zion. Okay, you should get some glasses and get over your fat self. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at that. Really? But don't laugh it off because of the next guy, Al-Qaradawi, the 9th most influential Muslim in the world. He's the one who started the cartoon Muslim riots, or Mohammed riots, over in Europe. He's recently told his 40 million audience, kill the Jewish Zionist, every last one of them. He's advocated children as human bombs. Fox News also report here back at the border, kind of, an exclusive report that Hezbollah is now partnering with the drug cartels on our border. But I haven't seen the big expose of this. And just today, Hillary Clinton appeared before U.S. Foreign Policy Priorities Committee and she was asked about the diplomatic communication efforts, specifically regarding broadcast media. Clinton said the U.S. is, quoting, in an information war and we're losing that war. She later added, Al Jazeera is winning. She believes the answer is expansion of public media because the private media just isn't up to the challenge in doing their job. Well, she is right about the private media. It's not holding up their end of the bargain. But the answer is certainly not more government, but less government. Tomorrow, information I believe will shock you and change the way you think this administration views you versus the unions. Also, the collusion of radicals, socialists, and terrorists I was called crazy for. Well, wait until tomorrow. And the curriculum being taught in our schools that was designed by Van Jones on police brutality. Members of the FOP, watch tomorrow and ask yourself, really, I'm standing with that guy? I'm standing with, really? Who's standing up for our cops tomorrow at 5 from New York? Good night, America.